Oh yeah. Wow, I'm standing in what's known as the Black Fort. This is thought to be possibly the oldest fort on the Aran Islands. It was inhabited during the Iron Age and the Bronze Age, which is a very, very long time ago. It's called the Black Fort because, as you can see, there's a very dark shade of limestone here, and it certainly looks like that from the opposite side. On one side here, you have just a very sharp cliff drop, meaning that the only way you could attack or invade this settlement here would be from the other side, which has a chevaux de frise. I'll show you that in a minute. But inside you have these very small remnants of cluchans, which were small stone houses. And honestly, I find it just so unbelievable that you can walk around somewhere like this. This would have been someone's home back in the Iron Age. Look, I'm walking in the doorway. Hi mom, hi dad. Yeah, I've done my homework. It's magical. It's magical that you can actually, that this is still here, but that you can actually walk around, right? Wow, 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 wow. Now I mentioned the chevaux de frise. You can see all these jagged rocks. They would have been about 5 feet high. They would have all been at a slant so that any of the oncoming troops that were trying to attack the fort, or any, you know, horses, cavalry or soldiers, they would have at the very least been impeded in their efforts to do so, or impaled on the rock. So for me now, I have this little walkway that I can come through, but it would have been very treacherous for anyone back in those times. It's amazing that they have these fields here. For anyone that's watched the movie The Field, based on the play by John B. Keane, you'll remember Bull McCabe saying, "It's my field. I grew that field. I turned it from a bare rock into a living, breathing thing." And that's true, of course, because, like, even look over here. In the beginning, this whole island was just flat limestone like this, but then they had to dig it up. They had to dig the land up like you'll see here, and then in all the crevices and in all the cracks they'd have to put layer upon layer of sand and seaweed and whatever soil they could find elsewhere on the island. And when they had enough layers, they were able to turn that into what we now see as a field. But it's an immense amount of rock, and that's why Bull McCabe was so upset about that in the movie, because he did indeed turn what would have resembled a parking lot into a field that they could grow crops and allow their animals to graze. There's a signpost back there on a hotel saying Cunis gan uignis, which means it's Gaelic. I guess it's a Gaelic proverb of some kind, but it translates as quiet without loneliness. I think that's a great way to explain my life over the last few years. People always ask me if I get lonely with the way I travel all the time on my own and take these trips on my own. And of course the answer to that is of course I do. And you know, who wouldn't? I do get lonely from time to time. But I take these trips because I find solitude out there, and I really appreciate that solitude. I don't come out here to solve my problems or to think about my problems. I think that wouldn't be a great way to go about it, because being out here just accentuates whatever's on your mind. It just kind of almost makes things worse when you come out here with that purpose. Cunis gan uignis. Quiet without loneliness.